And hopefully it's third time lucky here at Lipstick Central. So hopefully we're not just talking to ourselves. Hopefully we're talking to you at home. So let's see, give it a few seconds to load on my computer here and see if we can get, okay. What's the episode 6 can? What does can mean? Yes! Yes! All right, we've got it. That's good. Volume down on the computer. And good evening, folks. Sorry about the slight delay in getting this up and running. This is technology not working the way I'd like it to. So you can put up with us now. Let's retitle this, edit the post. It's episode 6. All right, good evening. This is Tuesday, the 21st of June. It's a cool night in the valley.
It's quite cool.
It's quite cool in the valley. Yes, yeah. And okay, loud and clear. Ethan says thank you. Ethan, loud and clear is good. I would like to introduce Leigh-Chantelle.
Hello.
Leigh-Chantelle is from Viva la Vegan. And what I'm going to do tonight is we are going to be answering your questions because Leigh-Chantelle has 20 years, almost 20 years, isn't it?
In January.
In January, 20 years of vegan experience. And this experience is extensive, isn't it? Did you just become shorter than me?
My chair keeps falling.
I was like, wow.
I'm like, did I do something?
I saw that in a movie, I think, where somebody slowly went down. It was brilliant.
I was trying to be subtle.
Yeah, there's no subtle around here. We didn't rehearse that. We did rehearse the lipstick bit at the beginning, but we didn't rehearse that.
Without the bit with my team, sorry.
Thank you for joining us, Astra. Thank you for joining us, Beck. Vegan life. So, welcome to the Vegan Hour, episode 6, where my connection is weak, and that happened. When that happens, we'll get a little bit of pixelation here. It's one of those things. But and Dirk, thank you for joining us. Now, Leigh-Chantelle, you've been vegan almost 20 years. Give us a quick bio or a quick rundown of what you do. You're a public speaker. You're what else? You're a public speaker. You've written how many books? 4 books, is it?
4.
Four books. We're having a look at some of the books here, guys.
That's the latest.
That is the latest, which you launched a few months ago.
Yeah, it came out online. It was available for purchase 26th of December, but we did launch the beginning of the year.
Okay. But we've already got the questions coming in, and I haven't even got to this week's events. So Beck's already hit the first question in there.
I'll have to read that first, Beck, because I don't know about that one.
Yeah, okay, so yeah. Oh, geez, I tell you what. Leigh-Chantelle is straight in there on the computer. You've got it. That's good. You're doing well. She's taken over the computer.
So what was the question? A bit of bio about.
Just a little bit about who you are, so that everybody knows who you are, and then we'll get into expanding a bit more about that. So you're a public speaker.
Yeah.
You've run vegan events. You ran was it Green Earth Day? Was it called?
Yeah, Green Earth Festival and Green Earth Day.
Green Earth Festival and Green Earth Day 2010.
So Brisbane, Australia's first all vegan environmental festival.
Fantastic. And 2011 was the Green
Earth Day.
The Green Earth Day, which I went to that one. You've done one of the other books that you've done is There's a Vegan in the Kitchen, which often happens at my place when I'm in the kitchen, and at your place too, of course. Yes. You've also, I've seen you've interviewed a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of interviews over the years that you've done. You've done what else? What else have you done?
So in regards to Viva la Vegan, that's been going for 10 years. So we just celebrated our 10th anniversary for VivaLaVegan.net.
And what is Viva la Vegan?
Well, it originally started, 10 years ago I did naturopathy, nutrition, Western herbal medicine advanced diplomas, and I always wanted to release a recipe book. And I thought, when I'd finished, I'll just do a recipe calendar. It's only 12 recipes, that should be easy. And so that's what I did as soon as I finished my qualifications. And a friend of mine from school, Michelle, she came up with the Viva la Vegan name. And because I'm not very good with naming things.
Really?
No, it's one of
with all your talents, that's one of the things you don't do.
It's like with songs or
Yeah.
anything, I just look for words within the song or something, or
Okay,
even recipes.
yes,
I'm always like, Mum, what should I call this? I could just list every single thing in the meal.
Talking about recipes, if I can show some photos from the book, there's a vegan in the kitchen.
So that book, actually, I did a whole the history of Viva la Vegan with that.
Nice recipes there.
And see, that says brown rice vegetable pasta. So that's literally what it is.
Okay, I was trying to get to something a bit more. Curry puffs are nice. So she came up with the name Viva la Vegan. Hockey noodles. There's some nice pickies there. So that's still available to buy.
Yep,
it's still available
on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, anything online.
Okay. What I want to do before we get too far into your story and all that is just I just want to give you guys a heads up on vegan events happening. I picked 4 events that are happening this week and this weekend, so we'll just get that out of the road, and then we'll come back to your question there, Beck. I'm trying to ignore it, but we'll come back to it. You could have a read of that. Maybe
I'll read what that's about, Beck.
Yeah, you read that. There's your listeners. Yeah. Okay. So, whilst Leigh-Chantelle, or LC, do I call you LC? That's easier, isn't it? Yeah. Whilst LC is having a look at this question that you've asked, Beck, this Thursday, in 2 nights' time, Thursday the 23rd of June, we are in June. Hello, Lorna, for joining us, and hello, Natalie, for joining us. Okay, this Thursday, 23rd of June, 6 p.m. at Govinda's at Surfers Paradise, where it's all you can eat for $14 a night. I think you've been there, haven't you?
Not for a while.
Well, if you're free Thursday night, that's where you should be. Wade is doing the Vegan Business Network social gathering on Thursday night. So 6 p.m. at Govinda's. This weekend, on Saturday, there are 3... Hang on, I've got to hold the right number of fingers up to match what I'm saying. There are 3 events. Okay. I am having the Vegan Life, Vegan Luck in the Park at 12 noon at the Macintosh Island Park, which is a beautiful park. It's got peacocks and little waterfalls and little turtles in the water there, and it's really quite pleasant. The birds.
I'm coming to that.
You're coming to that? So you're bringing a couple of friends, I believe? Yep. You're coming to that one. So that's 12 o'clock. So you bring along a vegan dish to share. It's really relaxed. It's a beautiful. The vegan lucks are really quite fantastic. We get anywhere from a couple of dozen people right up to, I've had 65 as a record so far at one. So that's on the Saturday. Now, also on the Saturday, there's a couple of farm animal rescue charity events to generate money to support farm animal rescue. Now, they're doing a fantastic job up at Dayborough. They have one here on the Gold Coast. It's called Cupcakes for a Cause. I will actually be dropping in there on the way to the Vegan Luck. So I'll be dropping in there. It's at Surfers Paradise. Starts at 11 a.m. And it's all vegan cupcakes and homemade goodies. And so you can buy them and you can support Farm Animal Rescue. That's at the Surfers Paradise Piazza from 11 a.m. on the Saturday. If you're in Brisbane, head down to Charlie's Raw Squeeze and you can support Farm Animal Rescue with their fundraising vegan barbecue. Somebody's sending across a whole heap of. Thank you, Matthew, for that one. Just hang on. Can I have control for this for a moment? I'm gonna solve that problem. Right. Okay.
So any anti-vegan sentiment gets deleted. Okay.
That one does. He is going to. Yes. Charlie's Raw Squeeze, Brisbane, from 9 a.m. Saturday for their vegan fundraising barbecue. They're in Everton Park on South Pine Road. That's all the events.
Oh, I want to add one.
Please do.
The Vegan Vegetarian Society of Queensland, or the Vegetarian Vegan Society of Queensland.
Having a dinner?
They're having a dinner at Tian Run on Saturday night, also the same date. And I will be there at night.
LC will be there, so if you want to catch her that night, that's where you'll be.
And join with the VVSQ people and have a good night. Great to see you there.
Well, it depends how good my social life gets that night, doesn't it?
Saturday's a big day.
So that's a long way away. So, okay. Okay, so what Matthew has. Yeah, okay.
So Beck, I'll
Right,
answer your
okay,
question
so
about...
Beck has asked a question so that people know what Beck has asked.
Where was it?
You have, you're hilarious, Matthew. Behave yourself. Beck, what was Beck's question? We'll have to scroll. No, you'll have to scroll back here to find it. It was Melbourne's AJP candidate who was against gay marriage rights. See more.
She wants to know our view on it, and it's from... There's an article from the heraldsun.com.au, and it's about animal justice Menzies candidate Tony Holbert, and the title just says labels gay marriage as unnatural, and I only knew about this just when you shared that link there, Beck. And my thoughts are, everyone's entitled to their opinion, obviously, whether or not I agree with it. It's very sad to see people still believing those sort of things, and the majority of Australians are in support of all different types of people getting married, whoever wants to get married, and yeah, that's sad that it's coming from the Animal Justice Party too.
Thank you for that. Yeah. I would simply say, love the sinner, not the sin. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, Matthew says, thanks, Harry. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Matthew. That's a better comment than your earlier one, which might have gone missing. Luba, thank you for joining us. And Alison has joined us all the way from New Zealand. I think you are, Alison, aren't you? Yes. I don't know how Luba's joined us, but anyway, thank you for doing that. Right, so, yes, Beck, you're right. I agree with that, Beck, and I think that sounds like a good idea. So how can we do that?
Just, I don't think, unless he says something, I
yeah.
think let him
be. Okay, fine. Okay, so while we're waiting to see if people want to ask a few questions to LC, what I want to do is, okay, so I had a bit of a look through your most recent book, Vegan Athletes. Fantastic. I was really enjoying reading about the vegan race car driver. I can't think of his name, but quite a character he sounded like. It was.
There's some great people.
There are some very interesting. This took quite a while to compile, didn't it?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
How's that? That's yeah. Look out! There goes the good evening. They're little angry faces, I think. Matthew, because Matthew's just he needs negative attention. You know, some people need
so many angry
attention.
faces, people.
Yeah, so it's send that we want to see see some hearts. Okay, fair go. Lay off the thingies.
Anyway, so, the book, the athlete's book, it started 4 years ago. It started as an online series, interview series. So like you said before, I've interviewed a heap of athletes. And I a guy called Michael Griesmeyer from Germany, I saw an article about him, and I really wanted to ask him some more questions and find out some information. And I got someone to... There's the hearts, thank you.
Oh, thank God. Somebody found the other button. That's good.
And I got someone to organise to have an interview with Andrew, and through a translator, I got the questions back, and I thought, I know heaps of people who can answer these similar questions. I know a lot of people that other people get inspired with from health and fitness aspects. And I thought just, the people I know, be, say, 50 sort of people that I would know that would help, and that maybe they would know other people. And as it sort of progressed, I thought if I can get 100, I'm going to release a book. So I'm really into setting goals, and I'm quite goal focused. So once I had that, it sort of just went out of control, and then there was so many guys at one stage, and then there was too many girls, and I really wanted it to be balanced.
Yeah.
So
rarely is life balanced.
Yeah, but it wasn't, and there's 111 people in there now.
So did you end up with more guys and girls in it?
No, well, I cut it off so.
So it is balanced.
Yeah, it's balanced.
Okay.
Now, obviously, because it's 111, there'd be one that's a bit over.
There'd be one that doesn't know whether he's a guy or a girl. We're talking about this book, if you didn't see it earlier, we're talking about Vegan Athletes, which is available through...
You can get it on all channels online where you buy books. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anything like that.
You can even go to your Viva la Vegan
.net,
and you can
get the e-book there. so a PDF version
Okay.
of it.
And
But that's all you can get there. And if you want to know more information, see vivalavegan.net, or there's a website specifically for the book that lists all 111 people that are in the book, and that's veganathletesbook.com. And if you know Robert Cheek from Vegan Bodybuilding, he did the foreword.
That's right, yes.
For a few
That's right.
years,
Yeah.
so that was good.
Yeah. There's you know a lot of people.
Yes.
You've travelled quite a bit. You love travelling.
I do.
You were recently overseas for a few months, weren't you?
I was in Bali for a month. I saw Robert there actually.
He was there too.
We caught up.
Okay, yeah. And you've been to, you mentioned earlier, you've been to Portland. You've travelled around the States a bit, I guess.
Yeah, the States quite a bit, and Asia quite a bit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And being vegan nearly 20 years, you've certainly met a lot of people. You've seen a lot of changes too. I mean, you've seen what's your thoughts now on the way that the vegan awareness is nowadays compared to when you started?
Oh, the awareness of plant-based diets is high. The awareness of people mentioning the word vegan is pretty high.
Yes, true.
But I have a bit of an issue with people confusing plant-based diets with veganism as a whole ethical sort of lifestyle.
Okay. Does that sort of get your goat a little bit?
Oh, it's one of my...
Or the vegan goat?
It's, one of my...
little...
I know what you mean. Thing that quite irks me.
Yeah, it's one of the irks.
It's a bit of a hard one sometimes. Like, I do understand that people come to veganism for many different aspects.
Yes.
And I do understand that so many people care about their health or their fitness, so that makes them choose to become vegan, and that over time, a certain percentage of those people will find out about other aspects.
Yes.
So whether it's environmental, animal rights, or other social justice issues that are all linked,
so
in my opinion, to veganism.
So would it be fair to say that if they're mistakenly sort of not getting the whole picture in the beginning, that it might complete later on?
So
for them.
I would say, like I always like to say to people, go vegan, stay vegan.
Yeah.
Because it's important to find out different reasons. So if you're only, if you've only been vegan or become vegan because you want to lose weight or you want to look hot for summer or something, those sort of things, we all know how diets work and how many people make so much money out of the diet industries and stuff like that because they don't work long term. But if you're doing something for someone other than yourself, and in particular when it comes from an animal rights perspective or, animals, that is something that you would actually adhere to. Yeah,
so if you've got the ethical consideration underneath it, you're more likely to follow through and stick with it.
Exactly.
What was your motivation? 20 years ago, what was your awakening?
So I went vegetarian first.
Okay.
And my awakening when I went vegetarian was we were having leg of lamb. My family, we used to have roast leg of lamb most Saturday evenings.
Okay.
And I knew it was a lamb's leg because that was what it was called. And there was a particular piece my sister and I liked. And I said to my mum, what is that? She goes, it's the Achilles tendon. And I looked at my Achilles tendon and I went, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And I just went, and I vividly can still feel and see that because I looked over at the leg of lamb and I looked at my foot and I made the connection.
You made
like
the connection.
that.
Yeah.
And it took
that was the moment.
That was it, no red meat.
Yeah.
And this is year 10 at school. And
that's when I did.
A lot of people, teenagers, become vegan when they're teenagers. And then we went on a camp when I was in year 10. We went on a 1-month camp. So the city kids going to look after the country animals and stuff. And there was some chickens at the place that we went, Ballon it was called. And we went, I was looking after chickens as part of the chores we had to do. So there's no way I was eating chicken flesh anymore after that.
Okay.
And then I would just be eating calamari. And so calamari every now and then or something, not like every week sort of thing. Yeah. And then still was having a bit of dairy or eggs in amongst things. But then I found out through the Vegan Society of New South Wales, and then they connected me with the Vegetarian Vegan Society of Queensland and Animal Liberation Queensland. And through all those groups. This is back no internet days. Keep in
Yes,
mind.
that's right. Yes,
where
that's
it was
right.
we
We barely had electricity, did we?
This was all
I still had
printed out A4 sheets of paper with information.
Those were the days.
And Meet Your Meat. So I had a CD of Meet Your Meat. It was pretty informative too. So because of those things, and it was new then when that came out. That was quite new.
Yeah.
And then because I learned about the dairy and the egg industry, and I went vegetarian because I didn't want to kill animals. I didn't want anyone to die or be hurt just for me. And when I found out, the dairy and the egg industries are using and abusing animals over and over and over and over again, I didn't want to be in any part of that whatsoever. So that's when I went vegan. And it took me, a while to find out that information because it just wasn't as accessible as it is now.
That's right. How wonderful. I mean, how wonderful is it now when there is so much awareness instantly accessible by this screen in front of us here, and so many documentaries, and so many groups, so many activists finding creative ways. I mean, they're starting to use virtual reality now on the streets, so that people can get a couple of minutes of like, this is what's going on. It's in your face. You're there, almost experiencing what the animal's experiencing. It's like, that's a big wake-up call. Yeah, definitely. And it's actually, I've thought about this a bit, it's getting harder and harder to hide the truth from the general population because this is just coming out so much. So now if people want to put their heads in the sand, they've really got to sort of go, oh, I know about it, but I still want to keep eating meat.
Well, it depends where you get your information. Like, I like where you're going with that. I like the idea of it. But if you're getting, say, all your information from Facebook, which the majority of people do, you're only getting a biased version of information. So if you think about elections and stuff that's happening now, if you're, say, a Labor supporter, you're going to get a lot of Labor-related stuff, and you're rarely going to see pro-liberal
it's going to be targeted to your preferences.
And that's because you're friends with similar people. Most people are like that.
I understand that.
Same thing with vegan stuff, I think. Like, we think this information, and we think that all these people want to join it because that's what we hear, and we share that amongst each other.
And then,
but we're 1 to 2% of the population.
True. And we're in a bit of sometimes in a bit of a bubble, in a bit of a cocoon maybe, and we go out in the real world. Look, I understand, I agree. I've gone, I've been in, for instance, I was in Broadbeach, I was walking through and I was walking past restaurants and I was thinking, wow, there's still this many people eating meat. Yeah. And it was like, this is a bit scary,
Definitely, and it can be hard if you're, like, say, Portland, Oregon, New York, LA, down where at the Gold Coast at the moment in Queensland, Australia, and Melbourne in Australia, or even Sydney in Australia. Those sort of places are like vegan type meccas, and there's a lot more vegan options, or at least vegetarian things.
Let me pull you up on that. Do you feel that Sydney's got more than the Gold Coast? I keep hearing the Gold Coast is better than Sydney. We've got, I think it's 7 now, 100% dedicated vegan places.
Sydney's got a lot more options.
A lot more options.
Yeah,
okay.
A lot more options.
Melbourne, of course, I hear a lot has got a lot.
Oh, Melbourne's just always been like the height. But fact, Sydney's actually catching up.
Disappointingly, Brisbane isn't particularly good. I mean, it doesn't have much from what, even compared to the coast. Gold Coast seems to have more.
Well, I have a lot of friends that have either lived or come from, say, Melbourne in particular.
Right.
And they just always complain about Brisbane. Everything closes at 8:30.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's the Gold Coast because I've only been here for a bit.
That's Queensland.
Is it?
Pretty,
in general, yeah. So we're still a bit behind the times with that sort of stuff.
We're not like an international city that would still be going late in the late hours of night. Now, Beck asked a question there. Vanessa, thank you for joining us. Colleen, thank you for joining us. Beck asked any docos you'd recommend to new and curious vegans.
Oh, the vegan maker Earthlings.
Yep, the vegan maker. Did you call it that? Yeah. That's good. Yes,
I know so many people who've gone vegan because of Earthlings. Yes. So earthlings.com. And
talking about Earthlings, have you seen Unity, the sequel to it?
I saw bits of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I had the chance to see the whole lot of that.
And I'd suggest also, I was one of these people when Earthlings came out years ago. I'm not going to see it. I'm vegan. I know the reasons. Don't need to see it. But then I sort of thought, well, I'm trying to encourage other people to watch this.
Yeah.
So if I can't even watch it, why do I expect other people to do it? And that's not fair. It's quite hypocritical.
Yeah.
So I went to a screening. Animals Australia put it on, I don't know how many years ago. It was quite a while, maybe 2010 in Brisbane, one of the cinemas. And Viva la Vegan, one of the sponsors, I went along. And it was very, very traumatic for so many people. Everyone around me was crying, walking out. You know, I'm not much of a crier, so I wasn't crying, but I was very like it was heavy. It was so heavy, and it takes a lot. And I know people who've watched it over like a few nights, like they've broken it up into pieces. But you can watch it, and I really strongly suggest people watch it. Within Australia, there's the Lucent movie.
I haven't seen Lucent yet.
Chris has done. Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Pretty intense as well.
Yeah,
okay.
and it focuses primarily on pigs. So he's working at other ones for the future. But so that's
who's that? Chris
Delforce.
Chris Delforce.
Aussie Farms.
Okay. Yes. Yeah.
So if you don't know his work, I suggest you check that out. And I've done
I haven't followed much about. I mean, I've heard of him, but personally don't know much. So
so check out Aussie Farms.
What about some of the ones that other people always mention, like Forks Over Knives?
Forks Over Knives, I really like that one. I had a friend of mine was doing PR for that when it was in the editing phase, so I actually got to see the 2-hour version of it before it was cut up years ago. They
certainly present a lot of information.
It was so... I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I was just so into it. Just because, you know, my naturopathy sort of background as well. I'm, you know, interested in the health aspects. And I found it really easy to understand. And yes, a few people were like, well, it's very health focused and, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah. But I loved some of there's a few good animations in it that were really cool.
And,
also.
you know, health focused, I mean, this comes back a little bit to what you were saying earlier about, you know, people's reasons for becoming vegan or plant-based, right? And a lot of the time there's selfish motives, isn't it? You know, it's health-focused, it's, you know, they want to look good, they want to feel good, they're worried that they might get cancer or something because they've heard something about it, you know. And then the other things develop later on, you know, the compassion comes in for someone other than themselves.
They might not.
Well, they might not, that's true, They might just stay on a selfish sort of course and not expand from there, It's definitely better if it's got an ethical base there, you know, an ethical foundation, definitely. I'm just keeping an eye on some of the comments there. Wisdom says that I've seen Lucent, it's very informative, so I must see Lucent.
And there's a good group, Vegans in Toowoomba. Some of my friends do a lot of things.
They did a big
Toowoomba.
poster or something, didn't they? Was it them that did it when Philip Woolen went up there?
Yeah, Philip Woolen just was there. I think I had 100 people. Like, this is Toowoomba, a farming sort of community. And they get amazing amounts of people that come along. And the Lucent one, because I was helping out, well, Chris Delforce, he came up for that, and we did a few screenings of that. So I was helping out with Renata and Mo, who run that, and the talking afterwards was intense. Like in particular, there was a family, and all the girls were vegan, and their dad was a farmer, and they were having this conversation. It was so moving to be there when everyone was just talking. The girls were just expressing how they felt, and the father was understanding, but still couldn't make the leap. It was full on, and this is in Toowoomba. Like,
this is an interesting thing because there's a recent thing where I saw with James Aspey, where after one of his talks, or maybe in the question and answer or something, he talks about there was a farmer husband and wife. I think did you hear about that one or something? They approached him and they were sort of. They weren't hostile, but they were sort of, you know, just wanting more information or something, you know, and quite serious about it or something. And I listened to him talking about it. I didn't get to see their reaction. It was just him talking about the experience. And I was really, really impressed by the way that he described how he handled it.
Oh, good.
You know, and that's one of the things. I mean, you're going to be in a panel with, can we say it? I guess we can, can't we? Next, what's it, on July
17th.
12th, July the 12th,
12th,
Tuesday,
yeah.
July 12th. You're going to be in a mock meets panel for the Vegan Business Network, and there's going to be James, yourself, Billy Simmons.
Not sure about Billy.
Yep, Billy Simmons.
He's meant to be travelling last, I heard.
Okay,
That may not happen.
That may not happen.
Yeah.
Okay, who was the other? Chrissy Carvello.
Yep.
Chrissy Carvello,
Yep.
who is planned to come on the show at some stage. She hasn't set the date, but she's planning to come on the Vegan Hour.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
to talk about mock meat.
Yeah,
so.
and Billy Simmons, what a wonderful role model. I mean, while we're mentioning Billy, I mean, you know, I loved it when I heard about him going into the schools, using the health angle, the health approach, but he's talking in the schools. Do you know a bit about that?
That was for in defence of animals. They sort of, I think the term would be sponsored him to talk at some schools.
Yes, and
but
then they donate money to an animal rescue.
It was more
place.
in regards to strength. Compassion, strength is compassion, or something.
Yeah,
like
that's right. There was a title like that.
Yeah.
I think that's right. But
and
he's
what
great. A good role model.
He's a great friend of mine. He's amazing.
He spoke at your Vegan Athletes book launch.
Yeah, the book
that was
launch.
the first time I heard him
book.
speak in person, and just just a great speaker and just so down to earth.
And we just did a tour. I do some work for Cruelty Free Super, which, in case you haven't heard about it, is Australia's only 100% superannuation company.
That was a plug.
100% vegan superannuation company.
That's good. Yeah, Cruelty Free Super. I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
We did a tour of Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne in the beginning of May, and we had Lee Coates from Cruelty Free Super and Billy Simmons from Prana On and myself.
Yeah.
And we went to all those three areas with Sue, Lee's partner, wife, and we had two other people in each town to speak. So it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. It was exhausting as all tours are, but we had in Brisbane we had Alejandro Sansino, who works
from
at
Urbane
Restaurant.
That's
and
right.
we had Brad King from Farm Animal Rescue. And each of the events we raised funds for the local animal rescue. So in Brisbane we raised funds for FAR, and then in Melbourne we had Pam from Edgar's Mission, who's always an amazing speaker, and then we also had Pana from Pana's Chocolate.
Oh yes,
sure you know the chocolate. It's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah. How could you not?
And,
well, tonight we're supplying her with chocolates.
Haven't started with those.
Oh, you haven't started. They're in there, so you have to get in there. Now I left you two.
Good.
Listen, we better get back to the questions here.
And then I had to finish that.
Finish that.
I was on to and then in Sydney we had Beef Carmody from a poultry place, and then we also had Katrina Fox from Vegan Business Network. Vegan Business Media, sorry. Vegan Business Networks up here, and Vegan Business Media is in Sydney, and they're doing similar things up here. And Katrina's written an amazing book, Vegan Ventures, about vegan businesses. So if you have your own vegan business or would like one, or just want to learn how some experts have gone over the years, and I was one of the people that wrote about social media. So
excellent.
That was
Vegan Ventures is a book you mentioned, I think, last week at your talk, when you did a talk last week at Mandela's. Before we get too carried away, thank you, Beth. You're very entertaining.
Good, thank you.
That's excellent.
Beck's recommending a documentary called Home.
Home is fantastic. Home is one of the most beautiful documentaries I've ever seen. It's about 2009, I think it came out when I saw it.
I think I know that one. I think we might have showed that at my first festival.
It's really, the cinematography is amazing. There's two actually. There's Home and there's Earth, and I often get the two confused, so I might be confusing the two there. So now
and the Vegucated also is really good.
Vegucated.
Yeah, a couple of friends of mine
seen it. I think I can't. What's the?
So there's three people in New York City. People that are encouraged to do a pledge to be vegan for 6 weeks.
That's right, yes.
And it's really good to see the journey and the process.
Is that the one where they actually go and live somewhere separate from, or they stay in their own places, do they?
Yeah, they stay. Okay,
there's another documentary where they go and live like all together in a shared house or something.
They're not all those reality TV shows I like, are they?
I don't even watch TV. Anyway, there's been a question sitting here for a while from Wisdom Motte. How do you deal with aggression? Well, I carry a big stick. Yeah.
Harry's aggression or
Yeah.
just people's
Yeah,
aggression?
how does LC deal with my aggression? This is how aggressive I get, so she has no problem.
I assume they use the chair.
I love how you go there again. It's just classic.
Gee whiz.
I've rigged her chair to every 10 minutes just lower itself so I feel taller.
Do you mean like anger and aggression online with people? Cause,
Yeah, I'm going to assume that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Like aggressive people and oh god, I can't not eat one of these.
I personally
Vegan, cruelty free. They look like a Tim Tam, but without the cruelty. You know you want them.
I do a lot of talks about online etiquette and how to act online, especially for businesses, or I'm working on a new program for teenagers at the moment, and I think it's really important. My main tip that I give people is act, don't react. So I think people are very emotional online, and people need to take some time out. If you need to say something, type it down, write it down, and leave it for the next day. If you still think it's important to say, copy and paste it, put it in the post. But I think we too easily go post like this, and then everyone just sort of has
Can you do that again? That was funny.
has to handle the fireworks,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
I don't think it's effective
act,
way
don't
of the
react.
time. Yeah, act, don't react. And let's try and take emotions out of interacting online, because it's hard to see what people mean. Because, you're seeing me, I'm not really seeing you, I'm seeing Harry, I can see what he means, how he's feeling, I can read his body language, I can see, that it's not aggressive or angry, but online you just don't know. If someone's saying something that they think is hilarious, that reminds me of bacon posts, they're really funny.
They're funny. And they're not getting and somebody's not getting the sarcasm if it's sarcastic or whatever.
Exactly. People don't get sarcasm, people don't get humour, and you just have to be aware of these things. And some people are quite quick to always jump to being defensive. And quite quick to do that.
And that's simply a reflection of where they're at, isn't it?
Yeah. That brings me to another really important point. People online, there's a reason why people act in a certain way.
True.
And there's, a reason why people are aggressive or not so nice online. And it's because they have their own issues that they're dealing with. And they've got things that they're working on, or not working on very well. And they're taking that out on other people.
That's
and
right.
I think it just brings you to a point where you need to remember compassion. And as vegans, we're like, be compassionate to animals, but we forget humans are vegan.
And sadly,
people are animals too. Humans are animals too.
Sadly,
and
we do see a lot of that online with different factions. Yeah. And unfortunately, my ideals, I think I might have mentioned this in a previous show, my ideals of people treating each other compassionately, in my ideal world, in my head, I would think that vegans would be just, all on this equal level. Unfortunately, there's all these, what I see, sadly, is the same thing coming up that comes up in any other situation, any work environment, family environment, social group, anything, where there's always going to be people that are more aggressive, people that are submissive. There's different levels. There's everyone thinking they know the right way to do things, and there's a conflict, and it carries through, and it's sad because, as you say, the general thing is most vegans do have a very, very deep, heartfelt love for animals, and then they tend to lose. Some of it tend to lose it a little bit when it comes to how they treat each other, and that's why I'm really inspired when I come across somebody that does encompass and understand that it's all living beings. It's not just the animals.
Well, it should be.
It should be.
That's my issue with health vegans, I guess. And
right.
you know...
What, because you're finding they're a little bit selfish? Is that...
I wouldn't use the term selfish, but, you know...
Self-centered.
No, I wouldn't. No. I probably wouldn't say.
So we're not going to put the word self in there anymore. Forget that.
Maybe,
we're not using the word self.
I think people need to always believe that they can learn more. And for people, especially us vegans, we like to think we know it all. And you know, I've been vegan 20 years. You think you know it all. You think you know it just after a year of being vegan. Yeah. But there's always things that you can learn. And I find if you are willing to learn those things, and if you're actually wanting to learn those things and going out of your way to learn those things, then you'll see all the other links. And I think veganism is just as important as every other social justice issue. So to me, they're all linked. You know, from feminism, human rights, land issues, environmental issues. There's so many different things that are all linked. And veganism, to me, is my way of leading by example to show that I'm against all these things and I want changes to happen. That just because they're good for your health, or just because they're good for the environment, or just because they're good for the animals, they can also be good for all these other things. So when people are saying, oh, well, you know, you care more about animals than people, well, why do you have to choose? Why can't you care about animals and people?
Exactly.
I think it's pretty simple.
There's an ancient spiritual saying that basically says that the wise sage sees equally a dog, anything from a dog right through to a saintly person. Basically, you know, he sees them equally because he doesn't see the body. He sees the spirit soul within, and he sees that equally. So for me, that, you know, the whole rights and treating all life with respect and compassion, I take it maybe a step further, you could say, and look at it from a spiritual perspective and understand that behind it all, we are essentially the same. We're just in different forms, but we are essentially the same. That's how I take it. You don't have to agree, but that's how I see it. So,
Well, I guess there's, you know, we all come from the same things, but you know, parts, but you know, some people have it a bit easier than other people have. You know, that you know brings in a lot of, you know, injustice issues, and
true.
I think people need to be aware of these sort of things as well.
I also picked up on a point you said there, which was that, you know, sometimes as vegans we think we know it all, and you know, I started the vegan hour because what occurred to me a couple of months ago was that, you know, I've been vegan, well, this is my 36th year, right? And I thought, okay, I've seen a lot in that time, but actually I don't really know a lot, and I'll admit that. I consider myself quite a simple person, right? But it occurred to me that I had a lot of experience in that I'd seen a lot, and that maybe if people wanted to ask questions about that experience, you know, maybe I'd be able to go, oh yes, I know this because I've seen it happen 10 years ago, whatever, and I know this, you know. So, but what I have personally in my journey discovered is that I have learnt so much in the last 3 odd years that I've been on Facebook, as I call it. I've learnt so much because I've found it.
Facebook.
Well, have you noticed I use it a little bit?
Sorry, continue with your thought.
No, I was just going to go back on it. I was just going to go on my love affair with Facebook then. But I've learnt so much because social media, to me, is such an incredible, powerful tool if used the right way. And so I've learned a hell of a lot, you know, and I think I've learnt more in 3 years than I have in all the previous time.
Wow.
Because I didn't embrace social media. I was like, Facebook, don't want to know about it. You know, and it was really, once I got onto it and started discovering, I'm like, wow. And now you can't get me off. You know, you've got to prize me off with it. You managed to control it. You're good.
I'm different with Facebook. Facebook, I'm not into whatsoever. Like, I'm quite anti-Facebook nowadays. I deleted my personal profile 3 years ago, I think.
It's so hard to tag you in anything.
So I've got my Leigh-Chantelle page and my Viva la Vegan page, and I run some pages for other people too. But you know, it's really amazing. It was so great to delete my
It was a bit of a liberation,
profile.
was it?
Oh, it was great, yeah. There was quite a few things
Yeah.
I did around the same sort of time, and
Yeah.
you know, one was change my phone number, and you know, another one was Facebook, and it was just really great.
Yeah, just a letting go.
But then it also, I'm reading this book at the moment called Reclaiming Conversation by Sherry Turkle, and I spoke about it in my talk the other week. But it's you work out who your real friends are when you delete yourself from Facebook. Let's just say that, because so many people will go, oh, I forgot you're not on Facebook. I'm having a party tomorrow. And I'm like, got plans, you know. So, you know, if people really want me to do something with them, or if people really want me to know about something, like I found out some people have had babies and got married without me knowing because I'm not on Facebook. So are they really friends of mine, or you know, that sort of thing? And this book's really great because it's talking about we have all this connection. There's all this connection. There's all these communicative sort of things happening nowadays, but no one's actually having conversations.
Yes.
Like you and I, we're sitting here having an actual conversation.
Yep.
But the majority of people nowadays do not have one-on-one conversations.
True.
They don't hang out. A lot of people don't even know how to talk to people. They prefer to text people. They prefer to fight in emails. Or,
that's true.
You know, and that's. I think that's really hard, and I think that's really.
I think it's really sad. Yeah.
But you know, there's a lot of people that are shying away from these things, and we're the only ones that can do anything about that. And you know, I go when I travel or when I go, you know, eat somewhere by myself or do something by myself, I always have a book with me because I love reading and I like reading lots of different things. And you know, you can lose yourself in the book, and you know, books don't ever run out of batteries or anything. So I can be waiting for a train or
for any of you
bus.
people watching who don't know what a book is, this is a book, right? Vegan, and this is a book you should be reading. Vegan athletes, okay, 111 vegan athletes from around the world interviewed by Leigh-Chantelle and released late last year, early this year. Yep, and available at all good bookstores and a couple of crappy ones as well. This is one. It's really it's fantastic because the way the questions that you've asked people, I like the direction that they go in. I'm having difficulty explaining it, but when I was reading about that racing car driver, it was just interesting. It was sort of encompassed a few different areas nicely, you know.
Yeah,
so,
well, I broke it up into sections. So I had, you know, why vegan.
Yeah, which is an obvious one.
Yeah.
An obvious one, yeah.
But it was really important to me.
Of course.
Like
why, it's got to be
how
there.
long, what are the benefits, what does it mean to you? And then there was the training. So a lot of people want to know about the training. You know, what do you do? How often you train? Do you do those services?
I think it's the way you ask the questions because the answers come through quite diverse and I found it interesting.
That's what I love too, because there was some people that, you know, cured cancers or been obese or whatever. They've had these massive
and they're in the book?
Health issues and they've changed it from a vegan diet and some from raw vegan diet.
Excellent. Yeah.
And you know, then there was also people that, you know, I asked them about the food that they eat. That was, a lot of people had great feedback for food and supplements.
That was,
you know?
I noticed that was one of the things I liked.
Some people would say, you know, the first thing they'd say, my diet is not healthy, you know.
Well, that's honest, isn't it? It's good. It's your interview style worked in that way because it seems like it's really honest answers. I like that.
And I loved, you know, some people gave quite simple, get to the point answers, whereas some people really went into it, their, you know, their mindset or their feelings and stuff like that.
Good.
So it was such a wide variety of people. I really liked it.
So we've had a question from Beck, which says, besides the wonderful Vegan Athletes book, are there any other books you'd recommend that are vegan and animal rights based?
I've got a list on my website. I'm just going to find it so I can just read a few of the favourites.
Here we go. This is technology in action here. Look at this. Just flying away. And I'm just going to do this while she's doing it.
Viva la Vegan.
Can you see what I'm doing? Can you see what I'm doing? Well, no, I wasn't doing anything. It wasn't me. I'm amusing myself. That looks like a good website, vivalavegan.net.
Yes.
Okay.
And
you have books and ebooks page on there. Reading list.
So if you go to the books...
So this is for you, Beck.
If you go onto vivalavegan.net under products and services and then look at the reading list, I've got a list of food and cooking, raw food, health and nutrition, animals, animal rights, ethics, activism and outreach, lifestyle, fitness and exercise, pregnancy, babies and children, and book at...
Oh, pregnancy, that's for you, Beck.
So what did you say about animal rights based? Okay, so...
Animal rights and ethics.
Well,
a huge list.
liberation
Huge list here.
is a massive one for people. Lots of people say that from Peter Singer. Gary Francione, he's written
Animals
quite a
as
few
persons.
books as well.
Yeah.
Mark Hawthorne, he's a really good
Not
writer.
familiar with Mark Hawthorne.
So he's from the States, and he did Bleating Hearts. And what was that other one that he did? We've got another one.
Beck, thanks you for that. We've got another question. Hi guys, I've only been vegan a couple of months now, and just wondering what you do on a daily basis for calcium.
Linda, I don't think you should be worried too much about specific things from your diet other than B12 when you're a vegan. As long as you're having a diet that's like low fat and it combines the 4 basic staples of a vegan diet. So that's fruit and vegetables, grains, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and legumes, beans and pulses. If you're consuming all of those things every day, and a variety of those things, you'll get everything you need from the diet.
Glad she was here, because I couldn't have answered that question like that. Thank you.
I wanted to add some to the book thing as well.
Yeah.
Eating Animals, Jonathan
I saw that.
Safran Foer is a very popular book.
Yeah.
Ethics of What We Eat. Just look at a lot of Peter Singer's ones.
Fast Food Nation, I've never read, but it's another one
I was going to say, Nick Cooney, he started the Humane League in the States a few years ago. I've done a few interviews with him, in particular with his books. Yeah. And he had one, I can't remember what his first book was. I've got a interview with him about how to be great at doing good.
How to be great at doing good.
But he had another book before that, and it's got a picture of a head with the brain open on the front.
Oh, yeah.
Can't remember what it's called, sorry,
but
that shows a lot of factual basis of why people go vegan and why they stay vegan. So from a health perspective, a lot of people don't stay vegan if they come from a health perspective. Whereas if they become vegan for animal rights, or if they've become vegan for health and then turn to animal rights, then they'll stay vegan. But if it's primarily for health, they just won't stay vegan, which I'm all about. We want people to be vegan, yes, but we want them to stay vegan. That's the important part.
That's
and people tend to forget that bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I'm just going to make a mention that I reckon we've got about 5 to 7 minutes left, probably. Karen has joined us now. Karen, thank you for joining us. I'm going to make a mention. You're our guest next week, and you already know this. So, yes, you'll be sitting here next week, Karen. And now, Beck makes a good point. Peter Singer isn't vegan.
No, definitely not. But a lot of his books have a lot of good information on. And I think, you can find information or...
from different sources sometimes.
Influences from whoever.
From different sources.
You don't have to agree 100% with what they say.
We were talking documentaries earlier.
Yeah.
I was quite motivated by Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Morgan, he's great.
Is it Morgan? No, that's not. No, not Morgan Spurlock.
No, Joe Cross.
Joe Cross, yeah. Now, I don't think Joe Cross is vegan either, but what he achieved and the way his message went out and the ordinary person could be influenced by it, I thought that was really... And I was inspired by it when I was
He's very inspiring. I've seen him speak, actually, and he, for the... middle class American type. That's his target.
That's his target.
Speaks so well.
And I think he did that well. Of course, it does possibly fall into what we're saying, that he got them from the health angle. He may not have got them from the ethical angle.
Well, he's not vegan either, and he doesn't actually endorse veganism.
He doesn't endorse it.
No,
that's
I remember someone asked him a question.
Yeah.
And he was quite adamant that he wasn't about endorsing veganism.
That's disappointing. Yeah. Okay, forget Joe Cross.
Well, you can learn a lot from what he he shares. And
Yeah.
you know, a good friend of mine, Jasmine Singer, she did his detox, and she lost a heap of weight from it. And she just launched, she just released a book this year, and I can't remember what it's called now. But yeah,
Something like how I lost a heap of weight from it.
I suggest that you just close my book list down too.
Yeah, so we're just...
There's heaps more on there too, Beck, thank you.
Beth was saying she gets 6 monthly injections when she's low. Beth, I guess that means calcium or B12,
No,
probably
I
B12.
think you're talking about B12, Beth. Yeah, you can
Linda's
get
thanked her
injections,
for
you
that.
can take sublingual spray, you can take tablets as well, and there's lots of vegan alternatives to B12, and just, you know, there's a few things that are fortified with B12.
Now, B12 is interesting because a couple of weeks ago when I had Colleen Checkatree on here, who is a vegan naturopath, she was actually saying in her experience and her recommendation is that if you have fermented foods and you have some kombucha and stuff like that, you don't need to take B12 injections or tablets for that at all. So that was...
Yeah, I don't think that would be correct.
Colleen will... we should get you two together. And actually, if you come along Thursday night, she'll be there. So
I don't think I'll be doing Thursday night. But
fight!
You know, I think you just have to be very, very careful about these things. And I know Amanda Benham is a really good example of someone. She does a human herbivore website, and you know, she's very vocal about a lot of B12.
She's very vocal about
and
B12,
for good reason.
and she's
had
been
a lot of
vegan longer than myself. I think now 42
and
years or
she's got
something.
2 vegan kids, vegan sister.
Yes.
And you know,
they're in their 20s, I think.
In Indonesia, the tempeh has vitamin B12, and there's a Dr. Suzianto Tang from Indonesia. He's the Indonesian Vegetarian Society president, and he does some really good talks and gives information about that. That has B12, the tempeh in Indonesia, because the process is not as clean as our process. So to say that happens here, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay. Now, before... And
also, nutritional yeast in Australia is not doesn't have vitamin B12 in it. There's a brand in the States that has it because it's put into it, which is fortified. Yes,
yeah. Now, before we run out of time, which I think we're going to have to start winding up, I forgot to mention earlier when I was talking about all the events that are on. Steph, thanks for joining us just before we finish. And Beck, Beck is referring to Amanda's. Amanda is awesome and has done a thesis on B12. So I forgot to mention we've got a competition running. Started last week. It's Mandela's. It's a $50 food voucher at Mandela's. Yeah, you want to be there. You can use it for brunch on the weekends. You can use it for lunch, dinner.
Or you can eat pizza Tuesday nights.
Yeah. So
we had that last week.
Yes, we did. It was great. It was a good night. Good night.
Good.
Yeah. So okay, that's a competition running. The way you win this competition is by sharing this live feed either now or any time afterwards. Sharing it as many times as you can. Share it to forums. Share it to your page. Share it to your friend's page. Share it to your enemy's page. Share it everywhere. Right. The person that shares it the most is the person that gets the $50 voucher at Mandela's.
How do they prove that? Screenshots?
I choose them based on the information that comes through on my computer.
So they send you a screenshot of
I can tell how many times they've shared it. Yeah. So that's running for the next couple of weeks. Thanks to Vlad, from the owner of Mandela's, and my friends there. So thank you very much for that prize, and that'll be running for the next couple of weeks. So, Leigh-Chantelle, time went quick, didn't it?
Thank you, very quick. I don't think we covered very much.
We didn't cover much, which means, guys, should we have her back again? I think we. Beck's already shared it. Good on you, Beck.
Beck's in the running already.
I think we'll have you back again. You're on the coast for a while, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm here for a few months. So hopefully see you before I leave.
I would love you to come back on the show again. Now you know where we film from and how to get here.
How to get here at night.
So, look, I want to thank, before we run out of time, Karen sharing it as well. Good on you, Karen. I want to thank the guys that have been asking questions tonight. We haven't had a big audience, but that's all right because plenty of people will see this afterwards, right? We haven't had a lot of people watching it in real time. We've had a few good, honest questions come through, which is great. We've had a lot of fun here. I've learned a bit more about you and your journey and that, and a lot more to learn, I think. So thank you, everyone. Remember to live vegan and prosper. And next week we will have a healthy vegan yogi on our show.
Oh, there you go.
So she's a yoga instructor, and so she'll be on next Tuesday night.
What's her name?
So Karen. Yeah, Karen is, she will be with us. So thank you, everyone. Before we run out of time, because I know it's going to happen and it's short, I'm watching the clock over there. I know.
Does it just log out?
Yes, we only get an hour, and I think we're up to about 55 minutes or something. In fact, let me just check let me refresh here and see if I can see how many minutes we've been going
Hope everyone's enjoyed the chat.
I hope you guys have been...
59 minutes.
Whoa, really? Did it say that?
Is that
Oh, yeah.
59
Okay.
minutes ago?
Thanks, guys. It's been wonderful, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. you've
care,
certainly been had. No. Okay, thanks, guys.
Bye.
As I would say, ahimsa, and live vegan and prosper. See you guys soon.